What's up, good people? This is Anthony Deloach, and I'm back. This time, guys, not with your normal crypto review or tutorial. Today, we got something absolutely special. You can probably see that it's not me by myself. I have someone with me, and this is something that's totally brand new because I normally don't interview other people from the space. I haven't done it before. I'm going to do more of that, but I want to tell you guys now, and it's not one of the platform owners. You don't have to worry about that. This is a gentleman that I've come to really enjoy talking with, a gentleman that I was introduced to that has done some phenomenal things in this space. He's been a leader. He's been absolutely incredible, and I'm so excited about the connection. And I thought it was a great idea to bring him on the channel and interview him today because there's some super special stuff that's going on right now. And you definitely want to be involved in this. This is not your traditional. It's not what you think it is. I promise you, it's not that type of stuff, but it's something that you definitely want to be informed on and you want to be involved with. All right. So we're going to get into the interview. But before I do that, you know what I want you to do? You need to go ahead and like this video, subscribe to my YouTube channel, and hit that notification bell so that you can be notified every time that I drop a new crypto investing review or tutorial. All right, guys. Look, one more shameless plug. I got to give it to you. You know I give it to you on every video. You got to be in my group, Game Plan to 100 Grand, right there on Telegram. That's where I put all the information first. If you want to be the first to know what's going on, what's happening, and you want to have a supportive community, get into Game Plan to 100 Grand, right? The link will be in the description of this video, and you just jump right in there, and you'll get full access to everything we got going on. All right, let's get into this now, all right? We're going to break it down. We're going to be informal, but we got some good questions. We're going to put this gentleman in the hot seat today and get those answers that we need to know what's going on. So without further ado, I want to introduce to some and present to those of you all who may already know him, Mr. Brandon Adams. Now, I don't know if you have like a code name. You know that people call me Crypto King Anthony and different stuff like that. I don't know if you have something that you go by, but one thing that I like for people to do is to know, like, and trust the people that I bring on here. So if you could just introduce yourself, because you can do it a lot better than me, and let people know something about you.
For sure. So people call me Coach B. So, thank you for having me on the show, for so many, now it's been over a year, man, that I've been really watching and following you. And I'm just super proud of everything that you've been doing in this space. And so it's an honor to be on your show. So I just wanted to, just start with that. But Coach Brandon is a basketball trainer by trade. That's kind of how I grew up. I was a high school All-American. I then went on and played for Division I basketball in college. Did some semi-pro basketball after that, but really decided to dedicate myself to helping others to achieve their dreams. And so for the last 30 years, that's kind of what I've been doing. And it's been super successful. We've got NBA players, WNBA players, some of the top college players in the country have all come through our specific way of training. We do what's called pattern recognition theory. And so that pattern recognition theory is basically, I would say, and based on the way other people feel about it, one of the top ways to learn in any sport, but specifically what I do is I do basketball. And so about 3 years ago, when the pandemic hit, I said, I'm really enjoying spending a lot of time with my family, right? But now that basketball can start happening again after the pandemic, I really didn't want to go back to work. And it's not that I didn't love those other families that I was working with, but I really wanted to kind of do something that would allow me to spend more time with my own family. So I got involved in crypto, and man, what a journey has it been. And so I've met so many incredible people, and I've been able to apply the skills that we use with the pattern recognition theory to be able to bring that into this space. And so I've been teaching classes, I've been, building, obviously we have the conferences coming up. And then I've been really educating people on how to really transition where they are to where they want to be in this world financially. And crypto and some of the alternative learning stuff that we're going to talk about today has really been an amazing tool.
Awesome. I'm glad to hear that. I mean, that's amazing right there. The basketball background and using that. And say that the actual technique you said. Say that again for me.
It's called pattern recognition theory. So just to give you a summary of it, When you look at some of these NBA players, and you know that they're not necessarily as athletic as LeBron or as fast as Russell Westbrook. So let's just take two of them. Let's take Steph Curry. Let's take James Harden. Both of those players are extremely effective and they're unstoppable. Doesn't matter what defender you put on them, you're not going to stop them. So if you have a certain skill set and a pattern presents itself, and you can recognize that pattern to apply that skill set, you're going to be successful a certain amount of time, or a high probability of success. Now, how fast you get to that skill when that pattern presents itself, that determines whether or not you're going to be a pro or not. But you don't have to worry about your athleticism because you're able to understand how the physical movement of the human body works. So what we teach is that there's what's called the neurorefractory period, which is your commitment of time to be able to move from one position to the next based on your decision. Well, if you decide to move somewhere because I adjust this way, then I know that in your movement, I can counter move against it. And then what are the highest probabilities of success? So that's just a small example of what pattern recognition theory is and how it's applied. And so what we do is we help people to not only learn the skill, recognize the pattern that they're trying to apply, but then really reduce the amount of time it takes to use that skill in that pattern before it goes away. There you have it. That's
Oh man, that's awesome. Like
1 minute version.
you just explained that. I feel like you took trading to sports, right? I was like pattern
Yeah.
recognition,
Well said.
because that's what I was thinking the whole time. I was like, that's like what we do in trading, right? It's like you don't have to know all of this other stuff. You need to recognize patterns, right? And
that's it.
there you go.
Well said.
That's incredible. That's incredible. I never thought
Well,
about that.
well, it applies whether you're driving a car, it applies whether you're learning new math techniques, whatever it is. We're always looking for patterns to recognize. And based on the skill set that we have, if we're not successful, then we either know that we need to work on the skill, or if we know we have the skill, we need to work on the speed based on when the pattern presents itself. Like it really gets simplified to that level when you understand skillfully what you're accomplishing. So the same thing would apply in trading. The same thing would apply in how we approach even choosing a business opportunity. Pattern recognition theory. And if you sit down and say, okay, what is the pattern of success? Now, we do have a lot of fake outs, just like we do in basketball, just like we do in trading. But what happens is that when you start thinking about like business opportunities, where are the fake outs? Well, the fake outs are, they don't show you exactly where the revenue is coming from. That's a fake out. So if you go for it, then that's on you, right? But if you realize that, hey, there's no pattern here of success because there's no proof of revenue, then you can move in a different direction. Or if you decide to go there, then you would reduce the amount of funds you would put at risk because you know that it's a time issue. It's not actually a legitimate opportunity. It's not an opportunity issue. So that's kind of where you would apply what I teach. And that's kind of what I address to the people that are part of our community, how they can win.
Absolutely. That is phenomenal. And that goes deep. I can see this going even deeper than what we're talking about today. I think we're on the surface level, but I see how this can, like you said, be applied to not only life, relationships, to be, in sports,
Exactly.
business, everything. Now, let me ask you a quick question and we'll move on to something else. But how did you, is this something you actually came up with? Is this something that you came up with, or is it, and if you came up with this, how did you come by this, right?
Man.
Like what was the thing that led to this?
This is very, very deep. This goes into there was an organization called LifeSpring, which deals with experiential learning techniques. And so I participated in that. And then you take, for example, Anthony Robbins. You know, he's not a motivational speaker, but he's a transformationalist, right? And so he's able to use neuro-linguistic programming to help you change the way that you approach this, that, or whatever. And by applying these psychological skill sets, you then have some predictability of success, right? So because I trained in that when I was younger, when I then applied it to kids when they were playing basketball, kids come from all different walks of life. You know, some kids are not necessarily predisposed to physical contact. So they're not going to be able to approach certain skill sets until they can accept the physicality of the sport, right? So I know then where I need to focus on the pattern recognition theory, and that is, let's work on how we accept physical contact. What's the difference between pain and injury? And so that uncomfortable space we navigate until they can recognize, okay, my skill is that I can deal with the consequence of pain, right? Because I'm not injured and I know where that threshold and those boundaries are. And so now when they're driving to the basket, when they get hit for the layup, they're way more adapt to be successful. And so when I took the experiential trainership, the experiential leadership training, and I put it with the basketball, I started recognizing that these patterns are what's necessary. And so pattern recognition theory became the tool by which I would teach. It would be the undertone and the rubric of how we could create successful curriculums for athletes.
Awesome. That is incredible. Now I know you've been using this for athletes, and I know you apply it with your coaching in the business world, and also, you know, in several other things.
Absolutely.
What would you consider, or tell me about your greatest success using the pattern recognition theory? Like the most memorable success that you've had with that.
So we'll talk about basketball.
Okay.
So I broke my leg in 2005, decided that I wanted to get out of teaching because I didn't want to be an old man trying to break kids down and all the rest of that stuff. And so in my early 40s, my wife was like, you know what, you need to go back to teaching basketball. And so I met this young girl who was a freshman in high school, and she was a tall basketball player, great in her own right. But I was the assistant coach on the team. And at the end of the season of that summer, when we were going to part ways, there was a tournament. And in that tournament, she really saw that I knew a lot of college coaches and there were some WNBA players there. And so she said, can you really help me to get to the next level? And I told her that I could. So she had her parents call me, and I went in and I did my spiel, whatever you want to call it, told them what I would like to do and how I want to do it. And they said, okay. And I said, well, you just bought an All-American. And they didn't know what I meant by that. But I was basically saying that you've given me the economic resources to be able to do what I need to do to work with your child, and let's see how far she can go. So from that time, using pattern recognition theory, we went from, you know, being a tremendous athlete to being the #1 player in the area, top 20 in the country, a 5-time All-American, and going to a top 3 school in the country for college. Then not only did she go to the top 3 school in the country, she then went from being ranked 20 in the country as a high schooler to being ESPN ranked #4. Like, it was just incredible. And then having a WNBA career. So when you talk about success using pattern recognition theory, that really comes to me because I'm super proud of her and everything that she's done, and the fact that her family allowed this technique, even though coaches may not have understood it, because it was somewhat of a threat, right? Because I'm saying, look, this is what I need her to have repetition on. I get it, you want to win the game, but if she becomes a better basketball player, you won't have to worry about winning games because she's going to win them for you. Just that kind of tug and play, that was different, right? But most of the athletes historically, they were already either in the NBA or WNBA, already college All-Americans. And so I really didn't have that time to develop like I did in this case. So that's a wonderful story of how we use pattern recognition theory in basketball, and what an amazing journey that young lady has.
Awesome. That is an incredible story, man. If you guys are watching this right now, hopefully you guys will drop some fire in the comments right now for what he's just explained to us, a real transformation, right? That is absolutely amazing. I always say the proof is in the process, right? And success leaves clues. And he just described the process. He showed you the results, right? Results speak for themselves.
Yep.
And I think that's absolutely phenomenal, right? That's an incredible thing. But what I want to know here, because we're on here because we're going to introduce the people to something I believe is going to be revolutionary. There's a summit going on, a mastermind summit. It's the Core 4 Mastermind Summit. And if you guys can check out the information, link is going to be in the description, by the way, but it's Core, the number 4 summit.com. You can go check it out, right? There's an event that's happening. Now,
that's right.
This mastermind summit, and we're going to get into this. I'm going to ask you some questions about this, but let me ask you, let me just tease something really quick. I want to know, and I haven't asked him this offline or anything, guys. I want to know, are you going to teach some of this stuff, this pattern recognition theory at the summit? I need to know if it produces results. I need to know if you're going to teach something. Let us know.
Let me see. No.
Come on, guys. We got to convince him to do a little.
You got to convince me. We got to convince me. There is so much, like, the type of individual that you have to be. You have to be coachable, right? You have to be trainable. There's got to be a desire in you, so that I know that when we're not together, that I'm impacting the quality of your thinking. And that's what makes the biggest difference, right? Because it's not that when we're together, you're going to say all the right things, but it's when we're not together, that's when you're making choices and decisions that might be counterproductive. So when I work with people in this space, I work with them in a space of, okay, if we're going to make money, how much money do you have? I'm not your financial advisor, but where are we trying to get to? And what sacrifices are we willing to make? And what is your risk tolerance level? Because if we're going on my journey, my risk tolerance might be different from yours. So I have to recognize where I'm going to tap out. And if we're going to work together and I'm your coach, then I need to know where that tap out is, because then we need to kind of guesstimate the timeline that it's going to take. So even for our event, we want to hold you accountable, but I don't want to take it personal. Like, when you start talking about really doing a deep dive into this and me being your personal coach, then I'm vested in your success. We are walking hand in hand together to get to a certain place. And so that cooperative win-win has to exist. Otherwise, then I'm the one that's drained because you never were emotionally invested. So that's why I've got to be careful with that answer, because I don't want to put myself in a position where we start putting stuff out there and people are actually not taking it seriously, or maybe they don't even have the capacity to take it seriously. They don't either have the resources, they don't have the support systems, they have environmental pressures at home. There's so many factors. So when you interview a player, or you interview somebody that wants to be in this space and be successful, then you got to get to know them individually. But in a group environment, we could talk about it conceptually, and we can say that the way that I've set Core 4 up, because we'll talk about that it sort of puts you in a position that if you look for this here, if you follow this area here, if you follow this area here, then you are on the right path. Because if I gave you the address to my home, and I say this all the time, without a GPS, without a map, you will never come to my house. It just won't happen, right? So you need a roadmap. So what Core 4 does is it provides you with that roadmap. And if you're sincere, then you can do whatever you want with it. You can come here, you could drive backwards if you want to, because you have the right roadmap, you have a plan. But without that plan, then we're just wandering generalities. And I prefer to be around meaningful specifics.
Absolutely. No more wandering generalities. We need meaningful specifics out there. Absolutely.
I see you like that.
I am definitely a fan of that, right? And I think
you've been a meaningful specific.
Absolutely. I think that's what has made the difference. And as I study success, I love studying success and greatness, right? And as I study it, everyone that's reached a certain level of success, or that you consider great, they've always been meaningful specifics, right? And that's one of the things that they have done.
Totally.
So that's been amazing to me. So We're gonna come back to this, right? But I want to get people a little more familiar with the fact that you've been in this space, right? I want to know. It's like, well, he brought this basketball coach on here to talk to us. Like, what does he know about what we do, right? So I want
Oh, wow.
talk to me about how you entered into I say the passive crypto, or sometimes I call it the alternative income space, right? Whatever. Like, when did you get in? And you don't have to mention any names of platforms or anything, but tell me about your experiences in this space, your
Sure.
highs, the lows, the successes, the failures. Like, tell us a little bit about that.
For sure, for sure. Because that's a great question. It's a long question, but it's valuable for people to understand that when I first got into this space, I thought it was a scam. Okay. And then one day I was talking to a friend and I said, how's that scam we did? And she was under me in this particular platform. And so she said, Coach, I make $3,000 a month and I quit my job. And I'm like, what? I said, okay. So I started researching. I called another young lady and they were like, yeah, I pulled out about 5,000 already. I'm like, you pulled out? And I looked in my account because I didn't even know how to get in there. I look at my account and I see that I had doubled my money. And I started pulling it out, and I started sharing it with people. And eventually I must have had in assets under management over $12 million. I was making over $1,000 a day and I was killing the game. I was like, this is amazing. I had thousands of people under me. It was phenomenal. And then it went away. It just disappeared. And so I was like, what is this? But at the time I said, let me diversify. So right before it went away, I was diversifying and I got involved in another project and I thought that this was really the one. Ended up, really getting to a point where I was doing about, 5 figures a week in it. It was ridiculous. I had 32 million under management, really doing well. And then boom, it went away. And so through this process, Anthony, I realized that we needed to have some rules. So I came up with the 7 pillars of success in this space. And so these 7 pillars were designed because I had such a large community that was saying, Brandon, what is it that we need to be doing different? And I was saying, okay, well, as we reinvent ourselves, we need to understand that these particular things have to happen in order for us to make a significant investment in a project. And so as I started to move forward, I noticed that my teams were way more successful. Really excited. I started teaching class. I had people coming from all over the country. I was doing speaking engagements. I loved it. And then probably in the peak in terms of the amount of money that I was making, the impact that I was making in the community, I said, let me set up a conference because I'm realizing that we need to get away from these crypto platforms as our primary source of income. There are other alternative passive income opportunities. And because of my leadership at this particular point, I probably could help the community find some equal plays that might be lower risk, but still offering the same high returns. And man, we've done it. We've done it. And so we've brought together a host of, Anthony, amazing people that are not necessarily on the radar, because if you're successful, you don't brag about it, right? So we have to find a way to nurture these people out so that they can come and actually offer us some real insight as to how we can make money, be successful, and more importantly, sustain in the space. So I took a big step back to take some giant leaps forward. And it's crazy because my wife and I talk about it all the time. We see over the horizon longevity. Whereas with these platforms that I was talking about with you before, we thought there might be longevity, but we didn't know. And we lived in hope. And none of our communities, your community, my community, all the different people that are supporting what we're doing here with Core 4, why do we need to play with hope? Why are we even excited about a project that's getting ready to start and we could put $10 in there and we can make 2 million and we hope that it'll be around in a month? Like, that's not a way to live, to be depending, or having a family dependent on you and that kind of stuff. So I will never allow family members and friends and my community that I support, that support me, to feel like they have to depend on what I started with in this venture, in this journey. So hopefully that helps you know a little bit more about me.
Absolutely. That's phenomenal. I believe it is important for people to know that you've been in the trenches, right? I think
Oh
that's
yeah.
a big thing for people to
Oh
know
yeah.
that, because there's a lot of things now where people they're starting movements, or they're trying to educate on things that they haven't really been through or have the experience for. Like I always say, don't take constructive criticism for some people who haven't constructed anything, right?
Exactly.
That's one of the things I say. Also, but
That's real.
when you know someone that's been through what you've been through, they experience, now I can listen with an ear to really hear, right? To hear what you're saying,
Oh
hear
yeah.
your heart and all that type of thing. Now let's talk about this a little bit, because when I heard about the Core 4 Mastermind Summit, I got excited. I said, man, now one reason I got excited, because first was just, hey, this is what it is. But then they started telling me about the cadre of names and people that were that were there. Like I was like, my brother BOJ was
Yeah.
involved.
Yeah.
I saw Quentin,
Terrence Pounds, Quentin
yeah, Terrence,
Cadford,
all of them, Kojo,
Jackson.
just so many,
Oh yeah.
Lambo. I saw so many
Ahmed,
influential
Lambo,
people.
Rashid,
Absolutely.
Anthony. Yeah. Anthony, let me tell you something. It's first of all, let me tell you what Core 4 is all about, because I think it's important to put this in perspective. Whether the fact that I created this concept and the detail of it, that doesn't really make a difference. Core 4 is all of us, right? And you have to want to adopt it, because we all started out as affiliates in this space and we're all making money and all the rest of the stuff. But you can't look at your team, and if they're suffering, you can't help but feel it in your heart, right? You got to feel that in your soul, because we're all out here trying to make it in this world. And none of us are trying to take advantage of people, and we'll share our journey, but there's so much more to what's possible. So Core 4 is 4 components. So the first is alternative income. So you got crypto, of course, with some exceptions. And then you have private membership groups, you have individual private equity opportunities, you have some MLM projects, you have prop firms, and you have PAM accounts. Like you have opportunities like that are out there, and those are passive plays that you might be able to live on. Then you have asset management opportunities. So you might have stocks, you have options, you have fractional ownership of real estate, you have fractional ownership of mortgage-backed securities, you have metals, so you have gold, you have silver that you can acquire. And so that's another area. You have fractional ownership of art. You have an opportunity to really have an asset that can perform for you as well. And then we take out, and by the way, Forex is a part of, what we would call alternative income, passive income. And then we have financial instruments, which is number 3. So that's insurance. So business credit lines. But going back to insurance, how do you use insurance as an investment tool as opposed to a death benefit? So, and then taking the business credit lines that you could get, then building your insurance, right? Because that not only helps you with your family, but it also protects you when you make an investment, so that the investment is still making a return regardless of what happens with the secondary investment. And now you have an opportunity to protect yourself. Like, why aren't we doing that? Like, what's happening? And then finally, we have corporate structure. And that's the 4th area. And so we tell people all the time, what are you doing to separate your social security number from your income? What are you doing? And if you don't have a real plan of action, then what you're going to end up with is a lot of confusion that can be really, we could take care of it right from the start. We could just set up your corporate strategy, and then you'll still pay taxes, but instead of evading them, you just avoid paying the high cost of personal taxes. Like, it's just, it's the most profound thing when I hear people that aren't willing to protect themselves and their journey in this. So anyway, so that's what Core 4 is. So when you start talking about these leaders, I wasn't sure when I presented, this is what I do, if they would say yes, that they're interested. But I'll tell you, I can't think of anybody right now that has not said, Anthony, that they're not interested in helping their community or even themselves for learning and digesting the very best, the very current knowledge of what tools are out there to help us to predict a level of success that, you know, could last not only for our lifetimes, but through our generations.
Absolutely, man. That is incredible. I love when I heard what Core 4 was standing for, when I heard the movement of where it was going and what it was educating, I was like, I have to be a part of that. And I'm excited to be
Thank you.
invited to be a part of
Thank you.
that.
I'm excited there too.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So my thing is now, because we talked about this a few minutes ago with Tony Robbins. I want you to explain this a little bit, and then I have a follow-up question. But for the Core 4 Mastermind Summit, which I believe everybody should go if you want to establish some alternative income streams, if you really want to build some legacy style stuff, if you really want to create some real leverage and long-term leverage in your life, this is a starting point for you. And you can make this a starting point, and you can make this a leap pad for 2024, where what you're going to do in 2024.
Absolutely.
Right. So I think
absolutely
December 1st and 2nd, guys, be in the building. The number 4 summit.com. The link is in the description. It's right there for you to click on and get the information.
Yep.
Move whatever you have to move off your calendar and be in the building. Whatever you have on your calendar right now. If you get married, change where you get married. I'm just playing. But like, if whatever is happening, right? I want you to clear your calendar and be in the building. Make room to be in the building. Now, let me ask you this, because they're going to come. I know y'all coming. I know y'all are coming. So since they're going to come, what is the transformation? Remember we said it's not just a motivation. We got some incredible speakers. We got incredible education that's going forward. What is the transformation for the engaged individual? Not somebody that's playing around, but they're coming to really see some change. What is that transformation that they can look forward to after attending this summit?
It's the accountability. And that's a great question, Anthony. The two differences between transformation and motivation is accountability. When you are motivated, that is a temporary state of being. It is a feeling, and that feeling goes away. When you are transformed, you become a different person. It's just how it is. However, that transformation doesn't have to last if there's no accountability. And so what we have is, number one, we're doing the events in December and June. And so networking is huge. So I force networking. Like when I work with teams, we do team building and we do team bonding. The people that are serious, you just talked about it. Look, there's no excuses. If you don't reach your best self in life, you know, that's on you if you're not striving for that. I tell people there are 3 things that we work on: becoming a subject matter expert, number 1, being the best version of yourself, number 2, and then number 3, surrounding yourself with people that inspire you. If you do those 3 things, you are ensuring a different level of success from whatever journey you were on before. And so coming to this event, my transformative information or guide to the participants is that we're going to focus on those 3 things. How do you become a subject matter expert so that you mind your own business and understand what Core 4 represents and how each tool is going to help you? Number 2, what are you doing to become the best version of yourself? Because if you don't have the right mind, the right health, the right body, then all of this is not really going to be impactful. So if you come with a toxic mentality, you better believe you won't leave with one. And then number 3 is really surrounding yourself. Like, you have to understand how to network. You can't just hope that somebody walks up to you. We're going to teach you how to engage, how to talk to others, how to ask for a phone number, how to stay in touch, how not to bother people, but to really offer value, because you're becoming a subject matter expert, and we all want to dialogue with people who actually take what we're valuing seriously. So the transformative techniques that are going to be there that are going to help us to apply is the fact that you will be accountable with your networking. You're going to also have the ability to come back to the future events, which we're going to be talking about the success, and we're going to be keeping you monitored, right? Because obviously, if you're connected with our event, then you're surrounding yourself with people that inspire you. So we're going to know what it is that you're doing, and we're going to want to make sure that you are successful because you become a testimony to our future students. So that's how leaders are born.
Absolutely. That's incredible. Now that's a transformation, guys. You see why you need to be in the building December 1st and 2nd. You need to be in the building no matter what, right? Get the information, core4summit.com. Link is in the description. You need to be there. Now, I want you answered pretty much some of that, because I was going to ask the question of, we know that the 2 days is not going to be able to be the only thing. So you need the accountability, you need the follow-up. What format can we expect that to be in? Besides, I know we have the 2 events. We have December and we have June. That's great. But what format can the person expect? Are you going to have opportunities for them to meet virtually afterwards, or to have group sessions or workshops, things like that?
Absolutely. So we definitely are planning on having our follow-up sessions where we can get on, we can talk, we can bring the community together so that they can experience this. Because at the end of the day, it's lonely out here, right? And so if you take a look at the top of a pyramid, there's a very little peak at there, and then you got this big base, right? And so what I tell people is that, let's say that base is 10,000 people. Well, 10,000 people compared to one that might be at the top, okay, I get it. But what would 10,000 people be at the top and then 10 million people be at the base? Mm-hmm. You have to decide from a scale where you're going to fit. And so as we allow people to come back, most people are tired. They're weathered. They have fatigue in the space. And so we want to get their energy up and help them focus on the right things, because we've been listening to the wrong things. Like if you have somebody that says, hey, you can make a lot of money in this, that's not what we're supposed to be listening to. What we're listening to is, where's the proof of income? Where's the proof of revenue? How do I maneuver? We need those strategies. And if they're not providing those strategies, then we want to invite them to participate in Core 4. Because we're not saying that you don't do whatever it is that you're doing, but that's the slot machine as you're walking out the door. There's no pressure that has to work out, where we know that we can look in our accounts and we can see through my FX book, or we actually have people who are reporting to us, or we actually fractionally own real estate that we can actually touch, feel, and know actually exists as a real property. So those are the types of things that, I want our community to understand. And when I say at large, right, because we all have our own individual communities, but when you're a part of Core 4, then it's the community at large. And so the message that Core 4 is giving is going to help each individual leader's community become strong, healthier, and also have all of those elements of subject matter expertise, being the best version of themselves, and of course, surrounding themselves with people that inspire them.
Man, that's incredible. If you haven't gotten the message yet, I hope you are already clicking on that link and getting your ticket, right? Clicking on the link and getting your ticket so you can be in the building. There's limited availability, so you need to hurry up.
Yeah.
Go ahead, get your ticket so you can get in the building, be here. If you want all of the stuff we just talked about, right? If you've been wondering about that stuff, he said business lines of credit, understanding, the business funding and education and all of that type of the right corporate structure. If you're talking about this stuff that can lead to legacy, long-term wealth for your family, we're not just talking about legacy anymore. We're creating it, right? And if you're at my community, you understand that we've been pivoting a little bit, right? We're changing some things, and we're going from, I told you, my big mission, especially in 2024, is education, empowerment, and impact. I want anyone that joins, comes in contact with my community, that comes in contact with me, to leave more educated, more empowered, and I want them to leave impacted in a positive way, right? That's a big thing. And we have an opportunity here. This is why I found that it was a good thing to partner with Brandon and the Core 4 Mastermind and all these other phenomenal individuals, because we have a heart for the people, and we want to see people really experience that transformation. And I'm gonna just throw this out there, guys. I decided to go ahead. I'm gonna teach branding on YouTube, right? That's what I'm gonna jump in and do a session on branding yourself. The power of branding yourself on YouTube. Now, a lot of you all have been following me for a long time. You understand what I've been able to create, but it's not just enough for me. Here's one thing that I always say, right? I always say, you know what? One thing is producing fruit, right? I always wanted to be productive and I wanted to produce fruit. But you know what? I've been doing that. I've been blessed to be able to be very productive, to produce a lot of fruit. But here's my mission now, right? My mission now is to plant more trees. I want there to be more trees. That's how that's my focus for my future, and that's my greatness. That's my legacy. How many more trees can I plant that produce fruit? So that's why I'm giving this out, and I don't hold anything back. Anybody that's been in any one of my challenges, anything like that, you know, I give you everything that I do on YouTube. I don't hold anything back. I want you guys to build successful brands on YouTube to be able to really create that more impact and to become a tree that's productive on your own. So that's a big thing. Now we're gonna talk about this because they probably wonder, say, Anthony, well, how much is it? How much is it to get into the mastermind? Well, let me preface this by, you know, if you're in my community, right? And I need you to be locked into my community, right? Like I want you got to be in the Telegram group, Game Plan to 100 grand, which I told you guys at the beginning. Get into Game Plan to 100 grand. I want to be giving away some tickets, guys. Because that's how powerful I know this is going to be. But you got to be in the group if you want to participate in that. So get in the group. But I want to tell you guys, Game Plan to 100 grand, you're in my community. I'm going to be giving away some tickets to some special people. But how much is it? How much is it?
It's $350 plus the Evite fee. This is a nonprofit. So none of the leaders, Core 4 does not make any money off of this event. We are funding it ourselves to get started. We're reimbursing ourselves, so we let everybody know that in the beginning. So our costs are $350 per ticket, and we also have, I think it is about maybe 10 tickets left that are $100 off if you use the code Masterminds with an S, Masterminds with an S, and yeah, so that's the cost. Is just that simple.
There you go. Look, only a few tickets left. Masterminds with the S.
Yes,
to get that
yes.
$100 off.
Exactly. And then the event is in Virginia at the it's at the Hyatt in Crystal City. So it's beautiful because it's right below DC. It's right there near the monuments. It's right there next to the Pentagon. It's gorgeous. So we have a great location. They're excited. There's dinner served on Saturday night. Friday is early registration, mingling, learning how to network, all the rest of that stuff, seeing some real superstars because we got an all-star cast, right? And then Saturday, we get busy. We start at 8:30. You get your final registration, all the things that you're going to need, and then be ready to work. And we have a full day of work to do. We've got so many presenters, so many different topics. It's going to be a blur. And the deal is we can't get to all the information in one day like that. So that's why we have to keep bringing this back more and more and hosting opportunities so that, like you said, we can hold our communities accountable for their success as opposed to leaving them on their own. People look up to you, they look up to me, they look up to BOJ, they look up to Terrence, all the names that we spoke of before. And now, you know, you have a chance to be in there. Like when I used to you know, I'll never forget, I'd go to all-star games when I was a kid. I'm sitting over there looking at these superstars, but I didn't have a chance to talk to them, touch them. They come in the tunnel, through the tunnel, they go out through the tunnel. And that's it. You go to an NBA game, you go to an NFL game, they go in the tunnel, they go out the tunnel. And these are your heroes, right? And so now here's an opportunity to be in a room, sit there, talk to them, look them in the eyes. Like you can't learn from Zoom. You can't learn from YouTube the way you can by sitting there and really getting the full presence of another human being telling you about their journey or really helping you to impact your own life. So that's what our event is all about. And I can't wait for it.
Man, I can't wait either. This is going to be phenomenal. I know where we're starting, and I know I can see where this is going. It's the biggest thing. I
Yeah,
see the lives that are going to be impacted by this, the transformations that are going to happen, the new leaders that are going to be birthed because of this.
absolutely.
Absolutely. This is going to be absolutely amazing. So guys, make sure you get, I know it sounds like I'm just overhyping it, but make sure you get your ticket, because I want to be in your building. I want to shake your hands. I want to look you in the eye. I want to see
Yep.
your face. I want you guys to see that we're real people. I want you guys to see that we have hearts just like you guys. We bleed just like you guys. We have emotions just like you guys. I want you to see all of it, the reality of what we've been able to achieve, and how, and most importantly, how you can achieve the success that you desire as well. That's the biggest thing here. And we really, really want you guys to do that. So core, the number 4, summit.com. Go there. The link is in the description. I know.
Yep.
Link is in the description, so you guys can actually get there. And this is going to be phenomenal. So this has been
Man, thank
good.
you
This has
for
been
having me.
amazing. I think a lot of people are going to get a lot out of this. Probably be one of my most viewed
It
episodes.
will.
But any last words that you want to leave the people with today? I know we've been on for a while, but
Man,
anything that you
we
would
have.
love to leave the people with?
If you're not happy with where you are, whether you're a beginner in this space, whether you're in the middle of your journey, whether you think you're at the end of the journey, you come to an environment where you know that there are other like-minded people that want to be successful, then you're going to come to this. If you think you're coming because you're going to be introduced to a platform, then don't come to this event, because this is a non-platform event. You're coming here to identify real opportunities that can make an impact in your life and your family's life from sincere people who are actually doing it. Leaders who are actually in this space, that are actually making impacts and things happen. And that's what we all want to be around. So take the time out, don't make excuses, be a part of our journey, and know that our journey is your journey, because Core 4 is not me. Core 4 is all of us. Thank you.
Awesome. Incredible. What an amazing, amazing, amazing interview today. Hopefully you guys got a lot out of that. Hopefully you guys are empowered, inspired already, and you want to continue that by coming to the summit, be in the building. I want to see you. I want to shake your hand. I want to look you in the eyes. I want to see all of that, guys. Here's what I want to tell you. Make it happen. See, successful people make it happen, while unsuccessful people are always wondering what happened, right? I want you guys to really get there. Understand this. If you look at this, this is another thing I always say. Successful people are always looking for the maximum result, while unsuccessful people are always looking for the minimum requirement, right? I want you guys to go
Well
and
said.
say, how much can I get out of this? And you go into this event with the mindset, how can I maximize my result from attending this event, right? Not the
That's right.
minimum requirement, maximize. So that's it, guys. You know, we're always going to bring you the best stuff. We're going to bring you the best people. Like we got Mr. Brandon on here today, Coach B. Man, I'm excited about where we're going and how much legacy, leverage, and love we're going to spread with this.
Let's do it. I'm
Let's
excited
do
too.
it.
I'm gonna get there
Awesome.
3 days early.
There you go. Awesome. 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 So guys, we're going to end it up like this. You know what we're going to do, right? We know what we're going to do. You know our motto. We're going to invest wisely. We're going to invest well. We will only invest what we're willing to lose, but you know, we're investing for the opportunity to win. Until the next video, I hope you guys have an absolutely phenomenal day, and I am out. Peace.